Welcome back aboard Blurred Force One with your boys Mo and Lottie, and this is the Supercast. The Supercast where we talk about all things superhero in our pop culture media. That's movies, TV shows, video games. We talk about the news, do some speculation, all that good nerdy stuff. And before we get into the podcast today, do us a favor, get down there, hit like on this video, or if you're listening on a podcasting platform, give us a good review. 5 stars would be the best, but whatever you think is appropriate. And Lottie, we're in the post Madam Web, world. A world in which, the Spider-Verse is looking a little worse for wear, not gonna lie. But hope springs eternal, not just for the Spider-Verse, but also for the rest of, comic book movies and TV shows and so forth. And there's a lot of things going on. But before we get into that, Lottie, man, how you doing today? And what you been up to that's nerdy?
Man, if any of you guys have been watching streams, I have been playing the ever-living shit out of Helldivers. Staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning every night playing the game. It is very addicting. It is worth the money. I highly recommend it. Highly, highly recommend it. I have not done anything nerdy besides play Helldivers. That's literally all I've been doing.
Yeah, I was watching the stream the other day. Looks interesting. I'm just not going to invest that kind of time. And I'm gonna be honest. If I haven't played Destiny, and I've but one time in the last 4 years, but it looks fun. It looks fun to watch. I'm sure a lot of people are getting a lot of kicks out of it. In the meantime, well, I've been sort of immersing myself in fighting games. We got Capcom Cup is going on right now, so I've been checking out the streams of the Last Chance Qualifier, and then also now Capcom Cup proper. So it's been really interesting if you like Street Fighter 6. Also been playing some Tekken 8. I finally started playing around in the story mode, and I suck. And also, Lottie, you didn't tell me that Tekken's story is crazy and ridiculous and stupid. Like it is a dumb story, but it also is kind of epic. It's crazy stuff.
You kind of have to grow up with the Tekken games to truly understand the story of Tekken. Oh, I'm really just surprised Tekken doesn't have an anime yet. I'm really surprised.
I mean, it is an anime, but it's the most ridiculous. It is super ridiculous. But whatever. I'm having a good time with it. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm enjoying it. Also, Lottie, you saw the Borderlands trailer?
Yes, I saw it.
It's that's either going to be good or it's going to be a dumpster fire. I don't think there's a middle ground for that movie.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, it's either going to be good or it's going to be.
It is going. There's no middle ground with that. Either it's either going to be, Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, or it's going to be Morbius. I don't know. I don't know where we're going to land with this. And also, Lottie, you gotta help a brother out. I've fallen into an addiction, and it is with buying action figures. I don't know what to do with I've been finding them for like mad cheap, and then I just can't not buy them. Like I literally, like a couple hours ago, I was on Amazon and I saw a Marvel Legends Wakanda Forever figure for Nokia. And it was like $9, and I was like, "Bam, give me that!" Like, so like last year, before the holiday season last year, I had no action figures, and when Nokia comes in, I'll have 16.
Hey, I don't blame you. I mean, listen, I was just saying the same thing about with me playing Helldivers. I am addicted. Like as soon as I'm done podcasting, I would try to play a couple of hours of Helldivers.
What you?
Listen. Hmm?
No, I was just saying, being a nerd, that's what we do. We a bit obsessive about shit like that. But
Oh yeah.
it's ridiculous. Like it's like the figures are cool, and I didn't spend a ton of money on them. I got a lot of them on like real good discounts, but still, like 16. What am I doing? So anyway, anyway, this is the Supercast. We are going to talk about superhero stuff, all the Cape Crusader stuff that's going on. There's plenty happening right now, actually. We're gonna cover these things. We're gonna give a shout out to a black creator. This we haven't talked about Black History Month, but we're gonna give a shout out to a black creator who's gonna be doing something pretty cool with a Neil Gaiman story in the comics. Christopher Nolan has got another W talking about Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man. The Boys sets its premiere, for later on in this year. There's a Batman Beyond pitch that's kind of circulating over at Warner Brothers that, my God, I hope James Gunn picks up, and we'll take a look at those pictures. There's a rumor about Javier Bardem and who he could be in the MCU. And speaking of the MCU, and Colman Domingo, who is kind of hot right now, there's talks of him potentially being in the MCU as well. We got a few Blade rumors. Hopefully it'll make Lottie feel better about the project. Then James Gunn posts a picture of the the Superman Legacy cast, and this kind of made me think, what does this mean about the style of James Gunn, as the leader of the DCU? What does that mean for Hollywood, and is it a good thing? And then finally, the Hollywood Reporter drops an article talking about the Marvel reset, if you will, the creative reset, and we're going to look at some of those items and why we should, kind of be optimistic about the future for the MCU. So, Lottie, got plenty to talk about, man. You ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
All right, let's get into it. So this. I put this on here specifically. This isn't superhero related. I put this specifically because, again, it's Black History Month. We haven't really said anything about it because most of the news hadn't had anything to do with it. But yeah, I think it's worth noting when one of us blurds is kind of making good. So this is Marc Bernardin is a writer. He's mostly for TV, and he's mostly written for TV, but also he's written comic books. Probably most recently he did he's working on or has worked on a Mace Windu comic for Marvel Comics. So it was very interesting to me to see that he is actually going to be releasing a comic book adaptation of a Neil Gaiman novel. So, Lottie, have you ever heard of the novel American Gods, or have you ever heard of the TV show based on it?
Yeah, I heard about the TV show. Yes.
Yeah, so that's Neil Gaiman. So of course, he wrote The Sandman and many other things. Actually, he wrote Coraline. I don't know if you liked Coraline, but that's a pretty great one. But also Stardust and many other things.
Yes.
So Neil Gaiman rightly may be considered one of the great comic book writers of all time, but also he's very good at prose. And so Marc Bernardin is going to be the writer adapting this book into it. And Anansi Boys is the name of the book, and it is a spin-off of American Gods based on the character Anansi, who, Lottie, you know who Anansi the spider is, right?
Yes.
I should hope so. If you had said no, I'd be like, how dare you disrespect your Nigerian roots like that?
Well, yeah, that sounds cool. So basically he's basically turning. It's sort of like how you've seen like what they did with Lord of the Rings and a couple of other ones where they turn it into like sort of like a comic book.
Yeah, exactly. And it's again in the American Gods, Anansi is one of the older gods, and of course he's an African god. And in the TV show, he's played by Orlando Jones, but of course he's a West African god, and he's a trickster and everything like that. And Anansi Boys is kind of about him and his sons, basically. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know too much more about the story. I've read American Gods. I have not read Anansi Boys, but I'm very interested in this. And Marc Bernardin, incidentally, uh, he's, like I said, he's written many other things, but I usually listen to him when he's on a podcast with Kevin Smith. So not it's in not weekly, but it's like once or twice a month, depending on what's going on. And he's very smart, and he's got a lot of really good ideas and everything. He wrote on most recently wrote on He-Man, the He-Man,
Mm-hmm.
the Master of the Universe Revelations with Kevin Smith. But he's also and we talked about it, and you probably don't remember this, but remember they're making a Black Panther video game, a Black Panther Captain America video game. Well,
Yeah.
Marvel hired him to be one of the writers on that also. So this dude, trust me, he's a nerd among nerds. He knows what he's talking about. He's deep in the weeds when it comes to this stuff. So I'm very very optimistic about this. I think it's going to be good stuff. I mean, he's basing it on excellent material. So can't miss as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, good on Mark. And I can't wait to see this come out. We'll let you guys know more about it when it does release. Lottie, it's time for another Christopher Nolan dub. Like he had a W last week talking about Marvel saving, kind of saving the industry during the pandemic. But he was on a late night show, and this is the quote. I just wanted to briefly highlight this and see what you had to say about it. But he said on the casting of Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, it's, quote, one of the most consequential casting decisions that's ever been made in the history of movies. So Lottie, is he on point, or is this ridiculous? Is this cap?
He ain't lying. I mean, I want to. I don't want to sound hyperbole and say that the MCU will never be what it is without Robert Downey Jr. But
But the MCU would
I'll
never be
say,
what it is without Robert Downey Jr.
yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is the face of the MCU. When that man stood up there at the end of the movie and says, "I'm Iron Man," he wasn't talking about he wasn't talking about Tony Stark being Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. said that himself. I'm Iron Man. And it's something that still sticks to me to this day. I mean, Iron Man is about to be 16 years old, and it still holds up well to this day. It's a very memorable movie, and like I said, it's one of the at the time, this is when literally the MCU could not do anything wrong. They were doing perfect casting after perfect casting after perfect casting, but like Goofy will say, the first you have to do a first perfect cast. And that was Robert Downey Jr. Taking a chance on Robert Downey Jr. because this was one of his first major roles after he got out of rehab, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, he was definitely trying to get back on the
Yeah.
right side of Hollywood.
So they made they made a gamble, and it not only did it work, they didn't just get a grand slam, like they didn't just hit the ball out the park. The ball turned into dust. The game ended when they hit that ball. It literally turned into dust. It left the planet.
It did that thing where Invincible and Nolan are playing catch.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think Nolan's 100% on point here. And he was talking about it because he had cast Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer. Robert Downey Jr. is probably going to get an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for this role, because believe it or not, even though he was doing all this CG stuff and everything and superhero stuff, the man's actually a celebrated actor. He's actually been nominated for an Oscar already. So, but Nolan is not wrong about this. I think you're right. The MCU is not what it is without Robert Downey Jr. It's on the same level as, and I say this with, I'm not being hyperbolic at all. It's on the same level as Christopher Reeves as Superman. Like, You know what I'm saying? Like that's that
Yeah,
level. It's on that. Nobody,
100%.
well, whoever they eventually recast as Iron Man when they reboot the MCU, in 10 years or so, God help them. Because boy, they are gonna be trying to fill some very big shoes. So
Yep.
anyway, good, Christopher Nolan, you're 100% right. No one's disagreeing with you. So moving on to the next one, Lottie. Another quick thing, and this just an oh happy day sort of bit of news. The Boys season 4 has set a premiere date, and it is coming out on June 13th. And also, big old surprise, it's been renewed for season 5 ahead of wait. June is like months away, but they already been like, no, we're doing 5 seasons. So, Lottie, first of all, are you surprised that it's been renewed?
See, I'm surprised that this was even a question. They should be, they should renew season 10 if they want to do season 10. What type of nonsense is this? What are you talking about? I mean, look at what's that show? What's that? The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead is like what on season 35 now or some shit.
Well, technically it ended, but they have spin-offs that are running now. But yes,
I can't tell because I still see Michonne and Rick still
yeah, because
wandering the place.
that's a spin-off.
It's not. That is the continuation of the story. They're just trying to say that so because it's not doing as well. Man, get out of here. The boys, I'm shocked I'm shocked that it had to be renewed. What do you mean? You should be renewing season 6 by now. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's one of the best. The Boys is one of the best shows on Amazon Prime. When I think of Amazon Prime, one of the first shows I think of is The Boys. If you ask anybody else about Amazon Prime, they will agree with me that The Boys is one of those shows that Amazon Prime just, you know what I mean? If the guy wants to keep doing it, you keep here, money, have it.
True.
So I'm happy to see that season 4 is coming out in June. So not only this looks like 2024 is going to be not only a good a good year for gaming, but a good year for TV show watching too. Because last couple of years been kind of rough.
Well, yeah, I mean, we did get Gen V last year, so that held us over, I think, pretty well. But yeah, I mean, we got something to look for. I mean, it's only February now. We're almost March, so we got 3-4 months to wait on it.
Yeah, to hold it for at least 1 month.
Oh, say it again.
I said we at least got Invincible to hold us over until April.
Yeah, we got some Invincible. We got some stuff that's going on. So, but yeah, it's good to see that the date is set and that they got renewed. And I'm just looking forward to that first trailer. I can't wait to see all the ridiculous explodey bits because Invincible's kind of set the tone, and now they have to like live up to that, that level. So we'll see. We're gonna let you.
I just want to see a trailer with the patented Homelander stare. Just him just sitting down, staring.
I mean, I'm telling you, this next season, like I said, Homelander taking no L's. So, but anyway, once that new trailer comes out, we'll let you guys know what we think about it. So Lottie, I put this next item on here just for you. And also for all other 90s kids, all the other people who when they were younger they watched a certain Batman spinoff that only ran for a few seasons but was very celebrated. And that is, of course, Batman Beyond. And since it went off the air, there's been plenty of other Batman shows, but there's never been a Batman Beyond revival at all. Nothing at all. Lottie, how many DC animated universe movies are there? Like, there's got to be 30 of them, right? Yeah. Justice League Unlimited was nice enough to have, Terry McGinnis show up in it. But, beyond that, he's just kind of been a no-show. And so, he's even had a comic book or two. But nothing else, in animation or live action or whatever. So, that all being said, doesn't mean people aren't trying to make it happen. In particular, there's a group of people who are actually pitching a movie, a Batman Beyond movie, to Warner Brothers, and apparently, they were invited to pitch, but like they were like, this probably isn't going to go anywhere. But somehow this pitch is still alive. So everyone who cares about this, y'all, keep hope alive. So, or do whatever it takes to try to make the universe make this happen. But Lottie, I just really wanted you to get a look at this, this concept art and kind of give your thoughts on it. What does it make you feel to see that this is the sort of work that is being undertaken to try to make this happen?
The thing that kind of upsets me, it is not, no, it looks great. I love how it looks. It looks amazing and definitely needed. It just, I'm looking through some of the, I'm scrolling through some of the comments, and this one guy really said something that makes sense. He said, I don't understand why DC has some of the most asked for characters and refuse to do anything with them, and that's Batman Beyond and Static Shock. Like, they've literally done nothing with those two characters since the early 2000s. It's been over 20 years.
Well, remember they are working on a Static Shock, I think a movie or something like that. But yes, you're not wrong.
But why did it take that long though? Like, it doesn't like you said, they're not even no animated movies, no TV shows, nothing. They just ignored it. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Batman, I like Superman, but it's like they Superman and Batman us to death sometimes, to the point that I think the animated DC movies, one of the things that they suffer from is that they keep oversaturating it with the characters. And I'm gonna just say this right now: do not listen to the Yellow Flash and Neurotic that say we only want to see these people. That is not true. If that is true, the Arrowverse would not have been as big as it was. Those people are full of shit.
I mean,
there are characters.
I 100% agree with you. Nerdrotic and Yellow Flash are full of shit. But I mean, that's just their general state of being. Like, so in this case, yes, I agree with you. But like, just don't listen to those guys at all. Anyway, they suck. I'm just trying to say.
It's just this. That's the problem that I think DC had these years, that they just oversaturated it with Batman, Superman. It's like I remember one of my friends was talking about it, and he mentioned that. I was like, hey, have you seen this one Superman animated movie? And he's like, what, the 15th one? And he's like, he's right. Like I can't. There's so many of them. I don't even know them all, and I'm less interested to watch it because I'm like, another Batman animated movie.
Yeah,
it's like they release 3 of them every year or some crazy ass number.
I mean, to be fair to the people, I mean, Batman and Superman are the most popular characters. They have the
I agree.
They have the most stories that you can adapt from the comics. I mean, it's hard not to, but no, that's fair. I think the thing about Batman Beyond is it came out at a certain time. It got a certain audience, but it was just overshadowed by Justice League and Batman the Animated Series. This was supposed to be a successor to it, and it was fine. It did its thing, but it kind of got overshadowed by the Justice League bits, and then then the kind of the pivot towards sort of live action, and never really. And I understand why it's hard to pivot to live action for Batman Beyond. First of all, the number of people that love Batman Beyond is not insignificant, but man, nobody knows him. That's just the truth. If you walk down the street and said, man, what do you think about Terry McGinnis? Someone would think you're talking about like some Irish actor, right?
Yeah.
They just don't know. But if you walk down the street and ask one random person, like, hey, man, what do you think about Bruce Wayne? They'd be like, man, Batman's my dog. So there's a name recognition problem there. That said, there's a name recognition problem with the damn Guardians of the Galaxy too. Don't tell me you can't take some sort of obscure character and make something out of it. No, that should never be a fucking excuse ever again in this industry. Ever again. I don't want to ever hear they're just too small a character. No, your mind is too small. That's the problem. Any character can be great and be a great movie or a TV show or whatever if you just work with it and get some, top-notch talent. That, like, Guardians of the Galaxy is literally forever and a day gonna be the example of, well, actually, if you just, put some real heart into it and work the material, you can actually make something out of these obscure characters. So, this is a cool pitch. I think the pictures are cool. I hope it happens. You know what? Believe it or not, I always hope that any of these projects that people are trying to make out of comic book things will work. I seriously do, because it just means something cool for us to watch. So we'll keep an eye on this, and we'll let you guys know if anything comes of it. So, Lottie, time for a little bit of rumor, speculation, what have you. This several items. Surprise, they're all Marvel related, but they might be interesting. So, Javier Bardem, the actor. He is currently he's about to be in Dune Part 2. But he was in Dune Part 1 as Stilgar. But he's a celebrated actor. He's been doing all sorts of cool stuff all his career. Just a good get for the MCU. It would be. And so, Lottie, I'll just not beat around the bush. The rumor is that maybe they want him to be Galactus. And, like, is this, like, cool? What? Or is it important that you get someone of Bardem's level for Galactus?
I mean, it looks like it.
Or more, I guess more to the point, should Galactus even be the thing that the Fantastic Four tangles with first off?
No, hell no. Please, God, no. Street level, Doctor Doom. Jeez.
You can't. Oh, you know what? First of all, how dare you disrespect Doctor Doom by calling him
starting off? I'm talking about starting off Doctor Doom. That's what I'm talking about. Is this going to be an origin story of them, or are they going to be already the Fantastic Four for a couple of years?
We don't know yet, but I say
don't do. No, I know Doctor Doom.
I say don't do Doctor Doom first. Mainly because if you do have Doctor Doom, he needs to be Thanos-ish. And Thanos didn't show up in the first Avengers movie and be like, "Hey, I did this shit." Right? He was at the very end where he was like, "Aha, I'm the man behind the curtain." So I kind of want something similar for Doom. Doom needs to be a little more established as being a motherfucker in the MCU proper, not just for the Fantastic Four. That being said, please name for me another villain that's iconic and related to the Fantastic Four. Yeah, well,
I agree. I agree. Sorry, I was thinking about it.
No, I was cool. I was going to say Mole Man, not iconic. Sorry, not iconic. Yeah. I mean, you could. They faced Molecule Man before. They've gone up against the Mad Thinker. They've had run-ins with various super scientists. AIM is usually a problem for them. MODOK is usually a problem. There's all of those, but MODOK is kind of fucked right now in the MCU. Agreed?
Yeah.
So MODOK is not
stay as far away.
Well, like that version of MODOK's not a real thing. AIM sort of is related to MODOK, but AIM would not be bad, but they don't have a real leader, so to speak. The Thinker, but he's a Hulk villain. I mean, there's some people in there. Mole Man is a fucking joke. I don't care what anyone says. It's hard to make. I mean, cool. He's got a big army of big, subterranean whatevers. But he's not a real threat. Let's call it what it is. So I guess it's got to be Galactus. I guess. Sure. Okay. Javier Bardem, he's an excellent actor. I'm all for it. So, I don't know, Lottie. We'll see I guess we'll let you guys know if anything happens with this, if he is confirmed to be Galactus.
Hmm.
Another rumor. This is about Colman Domingo, which we talked about on the show. It might have been one of the shows you weren't on, like the show you weren't on in January, talking about potential people to replace Jonathan Majors as Kang. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a later segment. But Coleman Domingo was asked directly, like, "Hey, there's all these rumors about you being potentially being the new Kang. What do you think?" And it seems he was being a little cagey, or he was just like, "No, for real, I don't. This isn't, booking my stuff isn't necessarily something I'm plugged into until they come to me with the deal." From his agents, but apparently there's been talks between his agents and Marvel for years now about a potential role in the universe. He said I could be in conversation, but I'm not sure. But I will welcome a conversation around it. Lottie, is he capping? I'm trying to figure this out because that sounds an awful lot like Andrew Garfield.
All we need is a. All we need is a. Oh, and I scroll down to see a bot picture. All we need is to catch him in 4K in the Kang outfit. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not Kang. I have no idea what you're talking about. That is not me.
He's like, I don't, it's like Kang. I don't. What's a Kang? I like that's not a thing, is it? I don't know what it. But the MCU would be nice. I'm like, man, Coleman Domingo don't. And now, mind you, also he's sort of he's in the he's not going to win, but I think he's nominated for an Oscar this year, and he's been grinding away. Like I mean, I think he's like 50 or 50 something. But my man's been grinding and just kind of doing this thing in Hollywood, and he was just recently in The Color Purple. I mean, the guy's excellent. I would love if this is true. But I don't, I feel like he knows. I feel like he already knows.
Yeah.
But I would also be totally fine if he was not Kang and it was in fact a different person. Who that person could be, I couldn't even call it because right now Marvel seems like they're pulling back on introducing more characters or new characters, and they're in that place where they're risk averse, so they're not going to be going to the third or fourth tier bringing people up. So who knows? But we'll keep an eye on this rumor also, and hopefully we'll get some confirmation or disconfirmation sometime soon. We'll let you guys know all about it. Last set of rumors for Marvel Studios, and that's Blade related. So of course we know Blade is was it 5 years ago they were like, we're making a Blade, and it's nothing's happened. And then we heard about all this stuff of the behind the scenes, and Mahershala Ali's not happy with the script, and they the director was left or fired or what have you, and they got a new director, and the writers were left. I mean, it's just so much stuff. Lottie, like, what did you tell me about how much belief you have in this movie?
I'm not gonna believe this movie exists until I sit down in the theater seats and see the movie show up. I don't believe it.
And you're gonna be like, not until I still don't believe it. It says Blade,
I
but
st- don't believe this movie has been literally confirmed and talked about for 5 years now, and it says still set the right is rewriting the script. This movie, bruh, this movie might come out in 2027 or something. Man, get out of here. I believe it when I see it. Mahershala Ali might be 50 when this movie comes out. You
I
might as
mean,
well.
I think he is 50. He's 50 now. Let's see.
Jeez.
But they're saying he's not leaving the project and he's happy with the current script, which of course is being rewritten by Michael Green. I don't know who Michael Green is, but yay, I guess. And it's still supposed to be R-rated. Those are the rumors. And
the fact that we're still rumoring something that was confirmed 5 years ago, like they brought him on stage. Come on, get out. That's why I say I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I refuse to believe anything about this movie until I actually sit down in theater and see it.
I cannot wait for them to start filming and I get set pictures. I'm like, look, set pictures like deep fake. Nope,
I don't believe it. I
it's
don't believe it.
not real. Fake news. That's all I'm gonna hear from you for like months. Well, either way, I hope all this is real. But like Blade, we need we need it to get together because if we don't have Blade, we can't have Midnight Suns. And damn it, I want Midnight Suns, which is another rumor I've heard that they're kicking that around and potentially making a thing happen. We'll see. But we'll let you guys know when and if we get more news on Blade. So, Lottie, I was on Threads and on Instagram, and I saw James Gunn was doing what he always do. Like, my man was on social media posting pictures, which I have to ask, how the hell, how you got time to work and be on social media? You can't be doing. I don't believe it. How is this man multitasking like this? Either way, he posted a picture that made me very happy, and no, it was not the casting of Jon Stewart yet, but that would make me very happy. But he posted a picture of the cast of Superman Legacy because they apparently have completed their first table read, which is in Hollywood. Table read is when you bring in all the actors, they sit around with the script and they run through the script. They read through everything and get notes and whatever just to kind of get the chemistry, the reads together. So dope. The whole cast was together and then he took a picture, like a big, a nice selfie with the entire cast. And they all look, first of all, Lottie, they look like they're absolutely happy to be there. Now, I understand they're actors, but like seriously, they look like they just, after the table read, I feel like they feel like something got accomplished and that it's a positive, forward momentum on this. Is that fair from, from looking at that?
What I'm looking at, and I'm just enamored by scrolling down, seeing the people doing artwork pictures of all the people who are on there and saying, hey, look, Hal Jordan, Superman, Hot Girl, Lex Luthor, you know what I mean? I'm like,
Right.
you know what? This is actually really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then the Stone Cold Steve Austin thing. It's ball.
I'm just looking at the picture and I'm looking at it on Instagram, not on Threads, but it's something about it just makes me happy. There's some, they're all smiling very happy, and there's some people I know and they're very like Nathan Fillion, but there's other, and Isabella Merced, they're, and of course James Gunn, but there's something about seeing these guys all together and clearly, just enjoying being around each other. They must have had a successful table read. It's just giving me good vibes for this movie. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, well, all right, Mo, that's cool. It's a picture. Why are you talking about this? It's not really about the picture. The picture is really endemic of the style that James Gunn is employing as a director, but also as the creative, kind of driving force of the DCU. The man stays on social media. He kind of posts, or not super detailed, but he talks about the creative process and what they're doing, what they're up to, how he's providing running updates more or less of the creative process that's going into making probably the most important DC movie in the last 20 years, right? And in so doing, he is way different than any other studio head that works right now. He's different than any other director that really works right now, at least a major director, in that he is highly plugged into the fan base, like super plugged in. He's transparent in many ways, right? He's answering questions. He's interacting directly with fans. When people ask him questions, he'll answer. If it's relevant, he'll shoot down rumors. He'll, all that sort of stuff. He's more hands-on with the fans than any director or any studio head I can think of. Like, point somebody that's doing what James Gunn is doing, and it makes me wonder. And Lottie, I would sincerely want to know, like, in your mind, is this good? Is this style of his good for DC? And is it good for the industry? And is it something that you want to see more of or less of?
He's running. James Gunn is running the DC. The Gunverse. That's what I'm gonna call it, the Gunverse. He's running it like a video game director would. He's giving constant updates, and I think this is good for the industry and for the nerdy side. Maybe not for like movies like Oppenheimer. You know, mostly boomers are watching that movie, so they probably are not checking Instagram and all that stuff to, you know what I mean, to get updates of that movie. But like the comic book industry and all that stuff, there's a reason why, we have 200 plus subscribers. There are people who are hungry for the information of this stuff. And I think a lot of people in the movie industry and this, like, the movie industry, when it comes to the comic books and all this stuff, not just the comic books, for like the TV shows, and are missing out on this free publicity and just advertisement, that just giving updates. You know what I mean? Like this, I mean, think about this. This thing on Threads has 5,000, almost 6,000 likes, 335 replies. Probably got a lot more of that on Twitter. Instagram probably got a bunch of likes too. Do you know how much advertisement this one picture can revenue?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I mean, it on Instagram's got 233,000 likes.
Exactly.
But that's just people who wanted to hit the like button or whatever. But I've tried to remember how, I don't even know how many comments it has. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like it's fan engagement that is like comic book, because comic book fans, besides the fact that we can be crazy sometimes, but we go to conventions and we stand in line to get autograph from comic book writers and artists, not Hollywood stars, not superstar directors or whatever like that, but people who write and draw comic books, right? Comic-Con is a huge thing because we're kind of obsessive about these things, right? And James Gunn has been going to Comic-Con forever and a day. He's a comic book fan, and I don't think he knows how to dial it back. I honestly don't think that he knows how to. And so he's sort of leaning into it. And I have to say, it's probably the best thing the DC has going for it right now. Mainly because the DCU has left such a sour taste in people's mouths about DC comics or the DC characters or the movies or anything like that, that he has got to do everything in his power to kind of, rev the engine, so to speak, for the base, for the hardcore, and for the people who are going to influence people who aren't hardcore fans. Because between you and me, don't we have friends that like comic book movies, or, but they aren't dialed into all this stuff, right? They don't know about all this stuff, so we tell them about it. And now they're like, oh shit, there's a new thing. And we know what my selling point is for Superman Legacy? My selling point is, hey, you know the guy that directed the Guardians movies that you love? He's directing this one. So he is the selling point for people who just they don't know much beyond that. They're not dialed into all of this stuff. And so as you know, he's being transparent and trying to keep the enthusiasm up amongst the fans, because we are the ones that are sort of going to take the message to regular people that Superman is back and DC is back and it's not the same thing as before, and like you guys are going to have to give this a try. And I don't know if it's necessarily something that needs to be done industry wide though, because you know, let's be fair and let's be honest here. James Gunn has arrived at the place he is right now in terms of social media because he went through some shit where he was stupid on social media about 10 or 15 years ago, right? Remember it got him fired from Disney, even though the tweets were a decade old. He is matured on social media enough that now he knows how to use Instagram and X and Threads and so forth in the best way possible, where he's not stoking controversy or just making a misstep. Because how many celebrities basically pay somebody to do their social media? And think of the ones that haven't paid people to do their social media and what happens to them, right? Yeah. So he doesn't have to pay someone to do it. He's figured out how to do it right, but also how to do it positively and to be responsible at it, so that he's basically, as you said, free advertising, right? And so I don't know if the industry can necessarily adopt this, because I mean, really, is Kevin Feige going to be on X talking about, oh, we all just got out of a production meeting or something like that? Is that something, that's necessarily going to happen and work for him? Maybe not. And maybe a lot of these people would be best if they don't fuck around with it at all. But for DC, hell yeah. This is, I think James Gunn being on social media and just being open and honest about what's happening could be one of the things that really drives this enthusiasm for the movie and for the DCU. So I love James Gunn. I'm glad he's doing this. Love to see this picture. I can't wait to see more. I can't wait to see behind the scenes, because he's going to be the source of these things, right? He's going to be giving us behind the scenes pictures and everything. And incidentally, because I almost forgot. Also, he did show a picture of himself kind of with Freddie Stroma and with his wife, Jennifer Holland, kind of taking them behind the scenes while they're working on Superman Legacy. But he also said they're not going to be in the movie. So if anyone's worried that the Peacemaker people are going to cross over in DC, Superman Legacy, worry not. It's not happening. So anyway, Lottie, I thought this was pretty cool, and we're just going to keep an eye out and see what else James Gunn is going to show us behind the scenes. So that leads us to our last item, and it's all about Marvel and what's going on behind the scenes there. Lottie, we're in a rebuilding year, right? I think I said that before. We're only expecting. Would you say we're expecting a 500 year for them? An even number of wins and even number of losses this year.
Yeah,
maybe even possibly slightly better than 500. Because so far, the only Marvel thing that's been out in 2024 has been Echo, which I thought was fine. It was mostly good, but there was some whatevers with it to me. But other people like it a lot. It actually, to be honest, was kind of a W for Marvel, because it was also on Hulu, and it actually got a pretty good amount of viewership. So good on them. So far, I count it as a W. Deadpool's coming out later this year. Probably going to be a huge dub. I think Agatha Coven or what is it, Darkhold Diaries is coming out later in the year. And there's some animated stuff. That's about it for Marvel this year. This is a rebuilding year. But that doesn't mean they're not, cooking behind the scenes, so to speak. So this article came out in Hollywood Reporter where they're talking about, some of the behind the scenes, maneuvering that's going on. And I thought it'd be cool if we sort of go through them and see, how we feel about the progress that Marvel's making towards retooling themselves, but also does it give us confidence about 2025? So here they are, Lottie. So Agatha Darkhold Diaries just finished their reshoots, and surprise, they only did reshoots for one day. They were scheduled for a week of reshoots, only one day to get the footage they needed to kind of, complete the series. That's okay. That's interesting. Lottie, does this bode well for the show, you think?
I have no idea. Honestly.
Well, to put some perspective on this, if I'm not mistaken, Echo had like a month of reshoots or something to that effect. What is it? What's another most recent thing that came out for them? I know Ant-Man and the Wasp had, I think, like a month of reshoots, something like that. Where the Marvels had a ton of, I think they had 3 months of reshoots. To be honest, I want to say it was almost like they had a few months of reshoots, but I'm not sure if that's entirely true. I know they had a bunch of work done. Reshoots are essentially if you've decided, once you're done with principal photography and you're doing the edit, and you're like, you know what, we need something extra. We need to add this or more coverage to kind of make the edit better, to make the story better. You basically like, all right, we're going to bring everybody back together. We're going to shoot these scenes that we think we need. And then, hopefully that'll tighten the movie up. That's the general idea. You should never use reshoots to, get coverage you should have gotten in the first place. It's always about new stuff that wasn't in the original plan. And so if you have extensive reshoots, that means that they had some real problems with the story and they need to go back and shoot stuff to fix it. So that's whenever you see a movie and it feels like some of the stuff feels a little disjointed in the sense that this seems like it's not in line with what everything else. It could be due to the fact that they reshot parts of it, months and months apart. So one day, they had to schedule 1 week of reshoots. They only did one day, which tells me something, which is, well, whatever they thought they needed to kind of tighten this story up, it must not have been too much, because if they said after one day, all right, we got everything, I mean, that's it. That means that the vast majority of what they've already shot is all good. So I'm calling that optimistic, that, an optimistic, outcome, that maybe this really was just pickup shots for a few items that maybe they decided to add later on. We also got news that Eric Pearson, who was the writer on, or one of the writers on Thor Ragnarok and Black Widow, has been hired to polish off the Fantastic Four script. So, Lottie, there's another sort of industry thing. So this means that the script they had was cool, and they're working with it, but they kind of want to punch it up a little more to kind of tighten it, make it a lot more, make it into something that's a lot more, dynamic or something like that. In other words, they got a pretty good product so far, but this guy's just gonna kind of bring it home. You know what I'm saying? And he's on Thor Ragnarok and Black Widow. So again, is this a good sign for Fantastic Four?
Yeah. I think it will be so. When did they start writing the Fantastic Four script? Was it about a year ago?
Yeah. This would have been about. So remember John Watts was supposed to be the director on this. So that would have been more than a year ago. If they had put him onto it, it probably would have. I'm not saying it was done a year ago, but it would have been more than a year ago that they had started on it.
Okay. So that'll be a good thing, because it's not late in the writing that they're doing this because they could be trying like they could be like filming and then all of a sudden be they could be like filming and all of a sudden they want to look at the writing and do a script. Oh, that's good.
which
That's
do-
good. They
which
caught
which
it early.
which I want to say does happen, and in fact, it happens at
Yes.
Marvel much more than you think. Like people think
Yeah.
everything, it happens at Marvel a lot more than you think. This is why every Marvel, every Marvel movie has reshoots planned ahead of time, because again, they get to the edit and they're like, you know what, we might need some stuff. But Eric Pierce, that's not a bad track record. I know a lot of people didn't love Black Widow. Hell, I was one of those people that didn't love it. But I will say, it had some pretty good writing on it. I think it's more. I think its deal. Black Widow's deal was more to do with the fact that there was an awful lot of like, why are you doing this action? But as far as some of the interpersonal stuff, pretty good stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where he goes with it. Speaking of writers, we got Joanna Callow, who has been hired on to work on the Thunderbolt script. So I don't know if this means, I don't think it means to write it completely from scratch, but probably to help punch it up like Eric Pearson's doing, or maybe to be more than just a punch up, but just to kind of take what's there and kind of take it to the next level. And why should you care about this? It's the showrunner of The Bear. So, mind you, in Hollywood, showrunners are writers, but they are the head writers, essentially, on a TV show. And on The Bear is an Emmy-winning TV show. Most recently, and I talked about this last week, Eben Moss Bachrach won the Emmy for Best Supporting Actor for The Bear. And Ayo Edebiri, even though she was supposed to be in Thunderbolts, but she also just won an Emmy for The Bear. So and the Bear won Best Comedy Series. So, take that as a very, very strong sign that they just plugged in an extremely effective and award-winning writer into the MCU to work on the Thunderbolts. Okay, Lottie, I feel like I teed that up pretty well. All right, how you feeling?
Wow. Like it really looks like they're getting their stuff together, man. Like, wow. Because I almost was thinking the Thunderbolts might be almost a throwaway type thing, but if they're really they look like they're really Marvel's really looking like they're getting their ish together.
Yeah,
It really looks like it.
real talk. That does actually remind me, since we're talking about writers, that this is indicative of internal restructuring. Now that Iger's back, he's sort of given. I keep hearing people say he's given power back to the creators. Well, the article says specifically that this is what's going on at Marvel TV, that they're restructuring it so that it gives more power to showrunners. Now, the reason why I want to bring everybody's attention to this, and this is serious. You remember Marvel's like, we're not going to run TV the way they do TV elsewhere, right? And it was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool for the first 2 or 3 things, but then it ran into problems. It ran into some creative issues. It ran into, and it culminated, in my opinion, the kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back and gets them to like reevaluate themselves is that Secret Invasion was a fucking disaster. And it even name checks that in the article. Secret Invasion was a disaster. And it was a fucking train wreck. It's a horrible TV show. It's easily the worst Marvel TV show. Like, I'd even say it's worse than Iron Fist. So,
Oh yeah.
so
Yeah.
so now they realize, you know what? Maybe we should make TV the way TV has always been made successfully, And that's what showrunners and writers' rooms and so forth. And so that's exactly what's going on right now. We saw that happen with Daredevil Born Again. You know, they brought in a showrunner from Punisher. They restructured the writers' room. They just scrapped a bunch of it and started over. Like, they're doing TV the way it's supposed to be made. And it appears that not only are they doing that, they are banking on doing TV correctly by giving showrunners the power that they're supposed to have over their TV shows. You know, in Hollywood, you know, TV shows aren't like movies where the directors are the creative head, right? Actually, with TV, showrunners are the creative heads, and the director's just kind of there to just make sure that they do what the showrunners want. So that means, in other words, that TV is going to be a writer-driven medium. And since Iger wants more creative control, more creative input, that means that these showrunners are going to have a lot more say over what we actually end up getting. And I am happy about that. Lottie, I mean, look, I'll even point to you. Your favorite superhero TV show of the last 5 years is The Boys, right?
Invincible, but yeah, The Boys is
Well,
a close
okay.
second.
Well, but we'll say okay, we can say Invincible too. But The Boys is a good example, and that is this. Yeah. Eric Kripke is the showrunner over there. He helped, he's a producer, but also he's a showrunner. You know what he used to showrun before that? Was Supernatural, which ran for 15 fucking years, right? So it's pretty clear if you get a good showrunner, you're going to get a successful show. Like a good showrunner that knows this stuff, can create the series Bible, just really, and they are hiring writers. So they're going to hire writers that are strong and going to do the work that's going to be consistent with what they are envisioning. That's what we're finally going to get at Marvel TV. And I mean, come on. What were you just saying? Are they serious? Do you think they're serious now, Lottie?
Yeah, it looks like they're finally waking up. Like they're finally serious about really doing this now.
Yeah, look. Daredevil Born Again, I think, is gonna be. Well, I mean, probably the Darkhold Diaries, but I think Daredevil Born Again is gonna be the real indicator of have they figured out their lessons? Have they learned the lesson about what to do? Which leads me to the last little bit, and that's related to something I was saying earlier about Colman, Domingo, and Kang and everything. Well, hold your horses on that, because it's looking like, according to this article, that Avengers 5 is not, or Avengers 5 is not going to be Kang Dynasty, and that maybe, in fact, they are going to minimize, or maybe even get rid of the character all the way around in the MCU. And don't think it's just a Jonathan Majors thing. This actually could be because Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania shit the bed so bad that maybe Kang just isn't the guy. So, I mean, is this a surprise to you at all, Lottie?
No. I mean, you introduced one of the big bads of your cinematic universe in an Ant-Man movie. Don't do that.
And he loses to Ant-Man too. Whose idea was that?
You don't do that. They introduced Thanos in an Avengers movie. Then they show him again in Guardians of the Galaxy, clearly superior to Ronan. Ronan didn't feel like he was top shit until he got the what was it? The Power Stone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't understand. And then you hyped him up to be this super powerful dude, and he just loses. Not once, but twice in the movie.
Yeah, that's that's, to me, that's really more of it's more of a consequence of the fact that it's a multiverse. So you can have one or two of them get beat and be like, well, they're not even the baddest one. I'm like, but he was the baddest one. They exiled him. Either way,
Exactly.
this isn't just a Jonathan Majors thing. It's just they took a gamble on a character and it didn't quite pan out, which kind of makes, I have to be honest, makes me kind of sad. I have to say, for Kang. Won't anyone think of Kang, right? Because just like with Madam Web, characters that aren't well served by these properties, that are sort of gonna go by the wayside because the people who were supposed to make them awesome made them sort of lame, and so it just kind of fizzles out. I don't like them abandoning the storyline, but I mean, they can. It would, like, if they sort of have set it up in Loki that they don't need Kang to be a thing, but I just hate that they went down this road and then they're just gonna run away from it. I don't know, Lottie, what do you think?
I mean, is it gonna be Avengers 5 Doom Eternal or something?
Who knows? Whatever it is,
Doomsgate.
Whatever it is, it has to lead to Secret Wars, which is going to be it's still going to be multiversal, so it's got to lead to Secret Wars. I don't know.
Deadpool.
I always
Avengers Deadpool.
Well, I always envision Kang Dynasty ending in Kang's ultimate defeat anyway. But I just wonder, like, if they're going to change the name and it's not going to be Kang focused, what's it going to be about? Who knows?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, we're not creative enough to work our way through all of that stuff. But I will say this much: I do hope that Colman Domingo gets that spot, because I know he can do justice to the character. And also, Kang's failure is a creative failure, but he doesn't have to remain that way. They can fix the character. They can make it work. And it starts with Deadpool. I think Deadpool has to be the one that starts if they're going to rehabilitate Kang as a character, Deadpool and his multiversal shenanigans has got to be the start of that. So, we'll see. But all the way around, Lottie, I think it's good. It's a good sign. Marvel is serious. They're taking their time. They're taking this rebuilding year to get all of their shit together, to figure out how they're going to make good quality TV, how they're going to make good quality movies, and really how to get back on the winning track. Because dang it, Deadpool needs to be $1 billion movie, and so does Fantastic Four. Maybe Thunderbolts might not. I'd love to see it get 650 mil. You know what I'm saying? I'd love to see Blade actually come out on time. That'd be dope too. Supposedly it's coming out next year. We'll see. So
I just hope to see it come out at all. Like,
yeah. Before you start drawing Social Security. I can just see Mahershala Ali, with a walker, just like, but with silver tipped spikes on the end, slaying vampires. So anyway, we're gonna keep an eye on Marvel Studios. I'm sure plenty more information is going to come out in the coming weeks. We'll let you guys know what we think about all of that. So that's all of our news for this week. But of course, many other things probably came out. Maybe we missed something. Maybe you agreed or disagreed, or you just want to tell us, your thoughts on all of this stuff. Whatever the case may be, get down to the comments section, leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, super_not_funny show on TikTok. It's blurred_force1, blurred_force1, that is, on Threads and on Instagram. And while you're doing all that, get down there, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. All of that good stuff helps to grow this channel, helps more people to see videos just like this. And if you're listening to us on a podcasting platform, you know what to do. go leave us a review. 5 stars will be dope, but whatever you think, we deserve. And of course, I can't do this show by myself. I need my good friend Lottie to take a pause from killing people in Helldivers 2 and to come over here and talk about superhero stuff. So Lottie, where can they reach you when you're not, killing robots in Helldivers 2?
Oh, you can always find me on my YouTube channel and my Instagram, which are both Anukinihun. Again, it's Anukinihun, Anukinihun. Again, it's Anukinihun. Keep, make sure you keep looking. I'm going to be streaming this weekend of Helldivers. So if you want to see someone dive for democracy, keep watching.
Or if you want to see someone get just like absolutely massacred by huge waves of enemies, also keep watching. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. It's been episode 140 of the Supercast. We do appreciate you checking us out, spending some time with us to talk about all this good nerdy stuff, all this superhero stuff. Come back next week. We got plenty more to talk about, man. Look, this superhero stuff just don't end. Superhero fatigue, what the hell is that? It's a lie. Don't believe it. And also don't go see Madam Web. It's not worth your time. So, but anyway, we will join you next week. Until then, I've been Mo, your commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Lottie. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.